Hello, thanks for agreeing to do the imCompadre meta study. In this video, I will walk you through exercise 1 and afterwards ask you to complete exercise 2 on your own. It should be quite easy after you see how everything works over here. For this exercise, it's up to you whether you follow me as I'm walking you through it or prefer to watch the video until the end and complete the exercise later by following the steps below. But it's important to me that you create your own user study one way or another. So in this first exercise, we want to create a user study to find out which image retargeting method is the best. Image retargeting is just a fancy name for resizing or changing the aspect ratio. And there are several algorithms that do that. I have a bunch of images processed with these algorithms. And so to our participants, we want to show the original image and then two images modified with different algorithms and ask them which one they prefer. So the steps are written below. I'll just walk you through them now. So first of all, you will need to log into your imCompadre account. I have it right here. If you're not registered yet, please do so by clicking on this link. I already have an account, so I will just log in. Now, straight after logging in, you are taken to your account settings. For now, you can ignore them. They are only about Mechanical Turk, which we're not going to use. So once you're logged in, go to your studies. Okay, I have an old study here, which I'll just hide for now. For you, the screen will look like this. It's a list of studies, but because you don't have any, it's empty. So let's go back to our exercise and see. Okay, first we need to download the data. The data is just a zip file. It's structured in a specific way to make it easy for us to create the task later on. It's not really important. You can feel free to unpack the zip file if you're curious. But at the moment, the only thing you need to do is to download it. The second step is asking us to create a user study with this following title. So let's go back to imCompadre and click on New Study. And this gives you the dashboard of your study. There are several fields to fill in. For now, let's just fill in the title by copying it from here. And after it's copied, let's click Apply. I just want to quickly tell you about these two buttons, Apply and Save. They appear in studies, and afterwards when we create tasks, they will be the same. They are both used to save the current state of what you're working on. The difference is that Apply takes you back to the thing that you're working on, while Save returns you to the previous page that you were at. So for now we want to continue editing the study, so we'll just click Apply. After we've done that, we see that something's changed. We can now add tasks to our study, and some other things are also possible, and we'll go through them. So the next step is asking us to add a starting survey to our study. And starting survey can be used to ask questions or just to give an introduction. In our case, it says that the introduction text should be the following. So let's just copy that. And on your study dashboard, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see the starting survey and a button to add one. So we'll do that. And as you can see, the field for the intro text is here. So I'll just paste in the introduction text. That's all you need to do. I just wanted to show you one more thing, that this intro text also accepts HTML in case you want to make your introduction a bit more pretty, but it's completely optional. So once again, after doing this, you can click Apply. So the introduction text is saved, but there's one more thing we need to do, which is to add a question to our starting survey. And the question is, have you ever done image editing before? And again, I will copy the text and click on Add Question, paste it in here. Just a small note, if you're completing the study in Firefox, you might have a little bit of trouble interacting with these fields. There is some bug I need to iron out, but you can go around it by just right-clicking on the fields, and then you should be able to type. So coming back to the question, this is our question text, but we are also supposed to give people 4 different choices. And the way we specify them is just pasting them in and separating different choices by commas. So I will just do that now. Okay, and we can apply. In this case, we might as well save, because now we're done with the survey, so we can go back to the study. Okay, so we have a study. We can edit our survey by clicking on this button, or just get rid of it if you want to. Let's see what the next step is. The study should contain a task that shows a reference image and 2 modified images, and ask the participants to choose the modified image that is the best representation of the reference. Okay, so this kind of task, where you choose one of 2 images in the imCompadre slang, is called a ranking task. So let's go ahead and add a ranking task. And once again, the exercise gives us some text to fill in the title. So let's copy the title in, and there's also a short description. The description is optional. If you want to give your participants some additional information, you can fill it in. And just like before, we'll click apply just to save the current state. Alright, so this is looking good. The next step is to use the test data that you downloaded before. So after you go to your task editing view, you can choose the zip file. I've got it right here. I'll just drag it onto this field. You can also just click on choose file and then find the file in your hard drive. Once that's done, click apply. And this will upload the file to the server. It might take a little while. And as I said before, the zip file contains images structured in a specific way, in some directory structure and specific names. And that makes it possible for imCompadre to automatically assign names and tags to images. So again, this is something that's already done for you, but just so you know, the names and tags are used to decide which images are shown together and which ones are not shown together. So in our example, as said before, we have original images and then a bunch of images that were modified, so the derivatives of the originals. We have 3 different kinds of images. There's the brasserie, and there are some butterflies, and some photos of an eagle. And in our study, it only makes sense to show images with the same name together. So you can see, for example, here, these 2 images have the same name, eagle. However, they have different tags, and in this case we are using tags to specify different retargeting methods, like seam carving or scaling or multi-operator retargeting and so on. So imCompadre knows that only images with the same name but different tags should be shown next to each other, so that the user can say, okay, out of these 2 images of an eagle, I prefer the one that was modified by scaling. Of course, they don't know what the tag is, but that's effectively what they're telling us. So again, this is all done for you just by the virtue of how the zip file is structured. Okay, so now we have our task, and with a bunch of images, you can now click on this preview. If you open it in a new tab, it will show you how the study will look like to the participant, and this is useful to see if everything looks alright. In this case, we've got our title and the description like they should be. We've got our reference image above and 2 modified images below. But one thing is not optimal yet. The images are quite tall and you have to scroll quite a bit to actually see what's going on. So we can change that. If you go back to your task editing, there's a field over here that specifies image height. Let's say something like 250 pixels should work for us. Once you apply the changes and go back to your preview, you should be able to see that the changes took effect. Okay, now it looks a bit more sensible. Everything fits, at least on my screen, so that's good enough for now. Okay, let's see if there's anything else we need to do. We need to ensure that the reference image has a descriptive caption. This is again something you can specify over here. There is a field called reference image caption, and we can just type something very descriptive. And once again, after applying, we can go back to the preview and see what happens. Okay, so now this is the reference image, and there are 2 images to choose from. Perfect. So that's great. The next step is to ensure that each user answers 10 questions. Right, to do that, we need to save our task, go back to study editing, and create a phase for our study. So this is a good place to explain the difference between tasks and phases. Basically, tasks are something that you want people to do, and phases is a placement of a task at a specific point of a study. In our case, it's very simple because we only have one task and one phase, so we'll just create a phase that asks 10 questions from this task. But you can imagine situations where it will be a little bit more complicated. For example, you could have 2 tasks, task 1 and task 2, and you could create 3 phases. Phase 1 would ask questions from task 1, phase 2 would ask questions from task 2, and then phase 3 would ask questions from task 1 again. For example, you might have reasons to believe that completing task 2 would change how people complete task 1, and you would like to measure that. But again, in our case, this is very simple, so we'll just add a phase. There's only one task to choose from, and there are 10 questions to be answered. After clicking apply, everything should be ready. Okay, let's see what other steps we need to complete. After ensuring that there are 10 questions to answer, we need to go through the pilot study to see if there are any things that we would like to change. Okay, this means that our study is ready. To actually be able to go through it, even as a pilot, it needs to be activated. And to activate a study, you just go to your study dashboard and click on this small activate button. The page should automatically reload, and you'll be able to see that now the fields are grayed out. You cannot edit them anymore, because once the study is running, it cannot be edited. So let's go back to our studies view. And now we have our list of studies with one study that's there, and we can see that it's active, and we have a link to it. Now we'll open the link, but it's good to open it in an incognito or in private mode, and that's just to make sure that our cookies are not preventing us from completing the study more than once. So let's do that, see how it looks like. So when the participant goes to our study, they are presented first with a starting survey. And this is exactly what we've specified at the beginning. There's some intro text that we've entered, and also a question. And you can see that the question has 4 different choices. Let's say that I occasionally edit images. Click continue. And now the first phase, and the only phase in our study, starts. You can see that this is how the task looks like, just like we've seen in the preview. There's a progress indicator. This is question 1 out of 10, and you can choose one of the 2 images. So let's go through it just to make sure everything is as we would expect. Every time, with every question, there is the images are chosen randomly, and as mentioned before, only images with the same name but different tags are shown next to each other, plus the reference image on the top. So let's keep going through. Maybe in this case I say, okay, I can't really decide, so maybe I'll click no preference. In this case I might like this one better, and so on. So let's just complete the study to make sure everything is okay. Alright, last question, that looks good. Okay, and after the participant is done, they just get a thank you note and a completion code. This completion code might be useful for the participants to prove to you that they have completed it. For example, on Mechanical Turk, it comes in very handy, but for now it's not really important. The last thing they can do is to leave a comment. So let's say they really like the study. And they submit a nice comment, and then they're done. So this is it. The study looks pretty good. As a study author, you can now see the results that people, the results of your study by clicking on this link over here. First of all, you can see all the comments that people left and when they left them. But you can also see results for each phase. Again, we only have one phase, and our results is just a CSV file with all the data that we need. And this is it. This is exercise 1 completed. You've created a study. You've gone through the pilots, made sure that it makes sense, and you know how to get your results. So you're done. Thanks a lot once again. Please now go to exercise 2 and complete it on your own. It will also ask you to capture the time it takes you to do that, and afterwards send it to me just so I know how difficult or easy it was. Great, thank you very much.